Today is Public Service Broadcasting Day. It was on this day, on 12th November 1947, that Father of the Nation Mahatma Gandhi was scheduled to visit Kurukshetra and address 2.5 lakh Indian refugees camping there. But since he could not reach Kurukshetra due to certain unavoidable reasons, an arrangement was made for Gandhiji's live broadcast from All India Radio for them. Consequently, Gandhiji visited the broadcasting house and addressed the refugees at 3 p.m. To commemorate 50 years of this historic visit of the Father of the Nation to All India Radio, a function was organized at AIR premises on 12th November 1997 at 3 p.m. In the year 2001, the day was officially declared as Public Service Broadcasting Day. Has Akashvani delivered as a public service broadcaster? Who better than an international award-winning radio documentary producer, Basudha Banerjee, who recently retired from Akashwani, to share her thoughts on the topic Public Service Broadcasting, the backbone of Akashwani, and read by Vinita Thakur.
The year was 1962. An insignificant radio station was suddenly catapulted into the thick of battle. Chinese troops were marching closer and closer to Tezpur town. Assam was anxious. Assam was tense. People were fleeing their homes. Orders came from Delhi for Gopal Das, station director Akashwani Guwahati, to return to headquarters. He refused. Veteran broadcaster Gopal Das would say in an interview later, and we quote,
"Such were the times when we were called upon to play our part. For the beleaguered people in the service area of the radio station, Guwahati being on air signified many things. Regular news bulletins at a time when there was no other social media. There were special programs for the soldiers and civilians. I was told by a political officer who was trekking towards the plains from the frontier post that not only did AIR programs sustain him and his party, but Guwahati being on air gave them confidence, strength and hope."
Hope is the word a senior journalist would stress upon while reporting from Port Blair in the immediate aftermath of the devastating tsunami of December 2004. Pratap Chakraborty, senior correspondent, Agency France Presse, AFP, remembers, and we quote,
"What really struck me that everybody, whether it was a taxiwala, a group in a pan shop, restaurant, hospital, they were all tuned in through their battery-operated radio sets to a particular radio frequency, listening to a phone-in program. And then I visited the All India radio station, and there I found a group of people who had cancelled their December holidays and were constantly round the clock rebroadcasting the messages that were being phoned to them from individuals, from institutions, from NGOs, police stations, and even the Navy and Air Force stations in far-flung areas like Car Nicobar, Campbell Bay and Kamorta. And then I realized they were connecting people, connecting lives, connecting hopes."
At a time when the tsunami waves snapped all communication links in the area, the Port Blair Akashwani station had risen to the challenge of the massive humanitarian crisis. Not only were the radio waves acting as a radio bridge, the premises of the station itself saw many tearful reunions. What is it that time and again prompts broadcasters to voluntarily, spontaneously come to the aid of the people in times such as these? Over the years and across the range and sweep of this vast nation, what is the fuel that drives them beyond the call of duty? Is it an ideal taught in broadcasting training institutes that binds a Gopal Das from 1962 to the small band of personnel at Akashwani Port Blair in 2004? Is it an ethical standard called public service broadcasting? The concept of public service broadcasting is perhaps best summed up by the mission given to the BBC by its first Director General, John Reith, in the 1920s as to inform, educate and entertain. Both Akashwani and later Doordarshan have followed this mission statement and incorporated the essence of it in their programming philosophy. The aims of public service broadcasting would therefore appear to encompass two main strands: that radio and television should give people the programs that they want to hear or watch, and that it should also satisfy wider social purposes such as education and the promotion of citizenship. Public service broadcasters promote diversity and pluralism in a number of ways. Because they are not driven by market pressures, they can produce programs which cater to a wide variety of tastes and groups without necessarily requiring commercial viability. For example, they have an obligation to serve the whole population and often provide services to minority groups in minority languages, even though listening or viewing statistics may be low. Imagine a state like Manipur with a population of just 30 lakhs. The local Akashwani stations broadcast in 32 languages and dialects to cater to the many tribal communities living in the state. Which private network will agree to undertake such a mission knowing the monetary returns are minimal, if not totally absent? Since their inception, both Akashwani and Doordarshan aim to inform, educate, and entertain in a manner that is empowering and enriching, and elevates both listeners and viewers to become responsible citizens. Soon after independence, Akashwani took up the task of uniting a fragmented polity deeply scarred by partition. Multiple religious communities, large number of languages and dialects, ethnic groups and competing cultures posed a real challenge to our founding fathers. Akashwani was called upon to play a significant role in smoothing the dividing lines and becoming the voice of the nation. In a way, Akashwani brought India together, celebrating its diversity within the overall umbrella of unity. From providing the necessary technical information to farmers to increase their yield, to introduce science education through school broadcasts, from popularizing classical music over Akashwani to projecting India abroad via the external services, the public broadcaster has done us all proud. Eminent scientist M.S. Swaminathan loved to narrate how a particular strain of rice was named radio rice by our farmers in recognition of Akashwani's exemplary role in the Green Revolution of the 1960s. In war times and in peace, during natural calamities and man-made disturbances, insurgency and pandemics, polio immunization campaigns, and voter awareness drives, time and again, Akashwani has lived up to its motto of Bahujan Hitai, Bahujan Sukhai. Generations of broadcasters have picked up the gauntlet of a wide range of challenges, played their roles exemplarily, and relayed their batons to the next generation of broadcasters before bowing out. I was hardly 6 months in the documentary unit of AIR when the Kargil War happened. My colleague returned with miles of recordings and fascinating stories about the travel, the terrain, details of a little radio station at Kargil, and how it took endless battering from enemy fire. During the COVID pandemic in 2020, yet again, a small band of broadcasters braving an unknown, invisible but powerful enemy got down to the task of informing, educating, and entertaining the listeners, knowing fully well the perils of stepping out in the very first days of the first lockdown, and knowing even more how vital it was to provide authentic and dependable information to the public in those very days. In an attempt to provide comfort and create a connection during those times of social distancing, I had mounted a series where living legend Ruskin Bond would read out one of his stories every day. These were recorded over telephone from his Mussoorie home. The immensely popular series was titled Bonding Over the Radio. Akashwani was overwhelmed with responses over social media. From across the globe, our mission had been accomplished.
Public service broadcasting, the backbone of Akashwani. You just heard a talk scripted by senior broadcaster Basudha Banerjee, who recently retired from Akashwani. This broadcast came to you over the Indraprastha channel of Akashwani.